Hari Om. Hari Om. Hello, my friends. We are again here on the newly made roof. Unfortunately, the work is still not finished, but we can have the Satsang here for today. Breathing is magic. Pure, sincere devotion is magic. Clear, peaceful thinking, clear, peaceful discrimination is magic. And all the little variations of this, or any combination of these three aspects, can magically transform our experience. Everyone helps you to connect back with yourself. Everyone helps you to bring the attention back to the source. What is needed to sincerely go about it and relax. And let's see, and then see what happens. The world may get crazy all around you. If you somehow manage to do one of the three, or a combination, then it doesn't touch you. Deep down, everybody knows what you are. The essence is not vulnerable. Nothing can hurt it. Nothing can hurt you. Superficially, we may get hurt, the body may get hurt, the feelings may get hurt, energetic disturbances may be there, intellectual confusion may be there. Prior to that, there is that pure divinity, the pure light that cannot be hurt by no matter what is happening. Our job is simply to learn to connect with that. And then we can achieve things in this world or not. It's not important. Whether we are spending our time consciously connected to that source or not, that makes a great difference. Whether we are achieving big things in this world or not, they are there as long as we are along for the ride. The moment we go out, all is gone. But that intensity that we are experiencing by conscious living, that is a wealth that is timeless. Let's not spend our time half asleep. Let's not spend our time fully identified with that me, delusionary self. It's just a reflection of what you are. It's not that it is apart from you. It cannot be independent. It is you, but only a reflection. See the reflection and follow it back to the source in one way or another. Be just have to sincerely go about it. It is not necessary to learn difficult, complicated techniques. If we want to do so, fine. But we can go about it totally simply. My experience is that the simplest practices are the most powerful if we have somehow the patience and the determination and the perseverance to go about it on and on and on. And as I have said many times, it is very helpful if we have every day some time where we are doing nothing else, where we are not busy, where we can put the undivided attention simply to bring it back to the source. Here now, timeless. And then let the experience of that unfold. And the job is not more to find something, but to be alert of not disturbing it. That's the whole basics of spirituality. Then, of course, there is a lot of stuff that can happen. People talk about subtle worlds, talking to the angels, channeling this, channeling that. Fine, that has all its validity on its own level. But it's also belonging to the world of appearance, appearances. There are the gross appearances, there are the subtle appearances. There are so many interesting things may happen. But if we want to free ourselves from that habit of always creating and recreating pain unnecessarily, creating suffering for yourself and radiating out into manifestation, if we don't want that, then there's no necessity of getting lost in all kinds of subtle stuff, subtle manifestations, however interesting they are. I'm not saying there is anything wrong. I'm just saying it makes sense to go directly to the essence, to that joyous, peaceful nature of yourself. Breathing is magic. It helps. Sincere devotion is magic. It helps. Clear, peaceful thinking. Thinking that is opening up to the source, to reality, is magic. It helps. Okay. I've been talking now by myself again. So I'm asking you, my friends, is there anybody who would like to say something? You're welcome to come in. I know it's a bit abrupt when I talk and then ask you to talk.
Werner?
Yes.
Hi.
I can hear you, Andreas. Can you put on the camera? Or if you like, you don't have to.
I don't know how to do it.
There, are you on a computer?
Yes.
then go to with the marker to the lower left corner, and there is an icon of a camera. If you tap on it, then your camera is turning on.
No, I don't have any camera icon.
I see. Well, then is there only the icon of the microphone?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why.
But your camera is working on the computer.
I don't know. I haven't
Maybe.
found it in the settings. Sorry for that.
Yeah. Well, then we just talk. Never mind.
Sorry, I fix it for next time.
Yeah.
I mean, I found that in my daily life, I really have difficulty to stay present in any way.
Yeah.
I prefer very much to dream away in my head.
Yes.
There's a very, very strong tendency that doesn't like to stay too much aware. I mean, it's after practicing for a long time, there's awareness a little bit of naturally.
Yeah.
But I really like to read books or watch TV, or it's a really strong tendency. And I mean, do you think I have to encounter and work against it willfully?
I think you can read your books and watch TV, keep it in a reasonable amount, and then while you are watching TV, anyhow, you are focused there. When you are reading a book, you are focused. But in the time when you are not focusing like this, try to remind yourself to bring the attention back to the present in one way or another. And gradually, you may find out that sometimes you may be capable of doing that same thing while reading a book or while watching TV. Sometimes it helps just when you watch a movie, just to consciously relax. And then you can do both. You can follow what's going on in the action and at the same time be aware, there's something totally at ease, at peace simultaneously.
I'm never sure if I really have it or not. Like if there's always that in my mind, which really wants to put the finger on it and really validate it.
Yeah.
And I think it doesn't work like that, doesn't it? I mean,
it doesn't work like that, right? That's the thing. We have the habit that we are in control when we understand things, when we think we understand things. Often our understanding may be totally wrong, but still the idea is there. I am in control. And somehow we want to approach this the same way, that I want to connect with the source, but then I, the person, still want to grasp it and somehow be capable of analyze it, understand it, categorize it, and that doesn't work.
Yeah, the problem is that I always have like doubts if I'm doing it correctly or not. Like, but in the last years, I found out that I think I have to be very simple and just be present. And I mean, if I stay present, like my mind sometimes opens up and it's like I'm seeing the light, and it's kind of nice. It's not a big thing, but it's but sometimes I'm worried if this is if there's still some attachment to that light or feeling of presence, and if I'm or I really can't stay there for long. Like immediately this thought comes that says, oh, this is very good, you're doing good, and then I'm already gone.
Right. As soon as you start to give values, put it somewhere in the value system, then you are back to the story. But there is absolutely nothing wrong that you are seeing a light. But just be aware that's not all there is. But if it happens by itself, it's encouraging. You can very well benefit from that encouragement. Simply don't think, oh, that's it. I have to somehow figure out how I can reach that light easier. Let it come when it comes, let it go when it goes. That sense of presence is actually, it's never really absent. Simply, most of the time, we are not aware. It cannot really be absent. Without that, you couldn't have any experience. So it's not so much a question that you said you don't really know whether you do it right or wrong. It's just sometimes we connect and then it's pleasant, and then there is the tendency that we have to, that we get a bit stuck on that pleasantness of the experience and start to dream away on a although subtler level than the gross material level, but still can get a bit lost there. So it's good then to bring also, when it's pleasant, still the attention back to the timelessness in one way or another. You can do it by simply consciously briefing. Even when you experience that sense, and when you are more aware of that sense of presence, even when you see a light, even if it's very pleasant, then you don't have to push that away and say, no, 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 that's no good. That's not it. Okay, it's a sign that you're basically opening up in the good direction, but then you still can keep that alertness. I don't know, are you doing, I don't remember, are you doing self-inquiry?
No, basically breathing.
Yes, then that's that. Then you just keep at it. Even when you have a good experience, that with the breath, you keep that alertness and relax, and then you just see how it develops. You don't really have to do something about it. What we have to do is to prevent to get stuck somewhere or disturb it.
Yeah, that's the difficult part that I like. For example, I'm really stuck with like what to do with my eyes, because the feeling is if I close them, I start to daydream much easier. I mean, I can go deeper into the light, but I start to daydream much easier. If I open them a little bit and assemble my attention in front of me, it seems that I'm more present, but I don't go, I mean, the light doesn't come so easily then.
Yeah. You can also alternate, but be careful that then you are not spending your time now wondering when you are sitting there, should I now keep the eyes open or should I now keep them closed? Because then the mind functions like this. Then after that, the attention is again caught up in that dilemma instead of just when you feel like close them and when you feel like open them. It's true. If with closed eyes, the tendency is a bit easier to go into dreams. With open eyes, the tendency is easier to get caught up by whatever the eyes are seeing. Yeah?
I just don't know how to deepen the experience. Basically, I think the answer is like, you cannot, you said already, you cannot figure it out, or you have, but it, just
stay with it and consciously relax. That's the best you can contribute. It's not that you can do it, but you can invite it. And that's the greatest invitation. If you stay with it and relax, consciously relax.
Yeah, okay. Not trying to do anything.
Not trying to do anything. I mean, you can keep doing what you have been doing to come to that point. You can, when you stay with the breath and then this is happening, then you need not think, now I drop being aware of the breath. You still can stay with it. It's not disturbing, but the mind may think, but if I stay with it, then it's disturbing the beauty of the experience. But that's only a mental thing again. Stay with it to keep you alert and relax. Let go, relax. That's the invitation. That's what we can do. That much we have to do, you know.
If I stay only with the breath, then it's like I'm getting very hung up with it in a way, like attached to it. I mean, I felt it more sometimes, like another teacher says that like just like rest as awareness, and I found that more helpful in a way that I'm opening up more when I'm focusing on the breath. It gets subtler and subtler, but I'm still kind of attached to the breath and the concentration to it.
Yes, but that's actually is also very much a mental thing that we are creating. I mean, rest in awareness, you don't contradict resting in awareness when you are aware of the breath. So add to the being aware of the breath, the conscious relaxing aspect, and you will become aware. Actually, in this way, you are resting in awareness more and more and more, deeper and deeper.
Okay, thank you very much so far. I have to digest that.
You're welcome. Wish you well with it. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Is there anybody else who would like to come in? You're welcome.
Werner,
Hello, Daniel.
I want to ask you about two different approach in meditation in Buddhism. And now they talking about one way is way of deep concentration.
Yes.
Person have to concentrate only on one point.
Yeah.
For example, breathing, and ignore everything else. And
Yes.
this way leading to deep samadhi, special experience, special visions of light, but it's not leading to enlightenment. And another approach, talking about vipassana, insight meditation, I guess. So this is just be present in the body, not ignore anything, especially in the body, be in the body. And by this way, not possible to go to deep samadhi. It will be still awareness of normal life, normal feelings, especially body sensations. But they talk, this way going will lead to enlightenment, because it will clarify the mind by absorbing different emotions, sensations, reactions. So, but some arguments, it's not possible to do that directly. First, the meditator have to get some level of samadhi by way of concentration, and only then it will work with vipassana deeply and seriously. Otherwise, if one starts with vipassana, it's just superficial, not going really deep purification of the mind. So my personal experience, I'm not able for deep concentration. I'm trying it, but it's so difficult to stay with the body, much easier for me. But last time when I was meditating in the cell, it seems I can try least for this. Yeah, but on the course Vipassana, they said first 3 days concentration, other 7 days you have to working with body sensations, part by part on the body, just observing. So I going tomorrow for 10-day course Vipassana.
Oh, you're going again.
Yes, I'm going again. Yes, I think it's important for me. I should develop. So, and I want to, you talk about these 2 ways, deep concentration and just absorbing everything. So it's different words in different system using, but I think you understand what I
Right.
mean.
Actually, the first 2 things that you said on the way of concentration, you can get samadhi, but you cannot get enlightened. And on the other hand, on that approach, you cannot get samadhi, but you can get enlightened. These statements are not totally correct. What anyhow is enlightenment? As you know, I'm always shying a bit away from that expression, because it has become something that you can get quite cheap on the market, and anybody who has a bit an opening, they think, oh, that's their enlightenment, and proclaim their enlightenment. So I'm very careful using the word at all. Let's say, instead of enlightenment, that it is really opening up. But you can come to that by deep concentration. That with deep concentration, suddenly you may cut through certain barriers and it's opening up. It is possible. That is, some teachers have certain ideas, maybe from their own experience, and then they proclaim that's how it is. But people are different. And for some people, it's more attractive to concentrate strongly. For others, it's more attractive to be just alert and open and relaxed. What I would recommend when you go now to the next course for these 10 days, that you do basically your Vipassana practice that you have been doing, but then you experiment a bit in between, that you make little moments, or maybe sometimes a bit extended moments of just intense concentration, and then you let go again. That's not that you have to think, I have to now go one approach or the other, but the 2 can support each other. So that basically you have that all over awareness, stay in the present, be open. But when you feel that the mind is wandering off all the time, then come back for some time, for a moment, to concentrate as good as you can. It's not as easy as people say and think to really concentrate, but then do that for some time and then let go again and come back to the other aspect. It's not that somehow one aspect has to pick up and then stay with it, and if you do the other, it's disturbing. In contrary, they can help each other mutually.
Yes, it makes sense.
You're right. So I wish you well. Have a good retreat.
Thank you, Werner. I will try to work.
Hariyo. Is there anybody else who would like to come in? I want just to say something from my own experience about the subject we just talked. When I came to Amma, I for the first time, I really started to sit long and longer and longer and more. Before I have been sitting, meditating, but limited times. And then to my consternation, I found I cannot concentrate very well. I try to concentrate and the mind goes everywhere. And then I try to just be. I did mainly self-inquiry at that time, but to just be with that I am and relax. But then the mind also would go off all the time. And sometimes I was frustrated and thought, now I just have to break through something. And started to concentrate and grinding my teeth and concentrate and grinding my teeth and concentrate, using my willpower to stay with it, hoping that with my willpower I can somehow break through something. But then I understood if I go on and on and on, I'm just getting nuts. After some time, I'm getting so worked up and frustrated that I'm ready to kick the walls down. So one has to find a bit natural, healthy balance. That approach with willpower and concentration can be all right if one is equipped with such a will and the capacity to concentrate and then not take themselves as a person so serious in it. That's what I'm clearly seeing now. My mistake then when I concentrated is that me, Werner, the person, I want to get somewhere instead of seeing the person as a figure in a dream. So totally identified, I am doing this. And then me, I want something and try and put my force in it, put my will in it. And then when it's not functioning, then getting totally frustrated and angry. And eventually I had to say, no, I can't just concentrate like this, especially when I'm sitting longer times, then I'm just getting nuts with it. But it is possible to go on that approach if one can be detached, not fixed on an immediate success of something, but it's for very few people. They are already so quiet and detached, then it works. But even if we don't have this super equipment, we can, like I said just now to dial, a bit shift from one to another. That if the mind is getting just too crazy and we try to observe and detach and step a step back, but it's pulling the attention so strongly into it that for a moment we do use the willpower and concentrate for some time, like stopping that process for a moment, but then consciously let go again, relax, and just be with in whatever way we are helping that just being, by vipassana, by consciously breathing, by doing inquiry, by staying with the I am, by feeling the divine presence. And then relax in that. And in that relaxation, the experience goes deeper, the experience becomes more expansive. But then in that relaxation, the tendency of the mind is again to quickly jump in and spin a story and then forget about it and go after the story. And if we see it, then just see it and observe it and relax, fine. But if it doesn't want to, we can, again, for a moment, just use the will to concentrate. And then feel for yourself. If one is doing that, feel for oneself how much is healthy. Where am I getting just more tense and tense and tense instead of relaxed? And then playfully shift from one mode to the other. There's absolutely nothing wrong with including both aspects. And we can forget about ideas. This is leading to this and that is leading to that. People are different. And what matters is that we learn to relax and be conscious. Okay, I'm asking again, is there anyone who would like to come in? You're welcome to come.
Werner,
Yes.
how much concentration, I mean, how important is the concentration? I start to think that the concentration is not so much necessary, because you say it's always there anyway. So I mean, what I don't understand the relationship very correctly. Like first, when I started meditation, I thought I need to concentrate more and more and more, and then it happens.
Yeah.
But now I'm listening more to people who say that it's always there anyway, so you just need to get out of the way. And that sounds to me that not so much concentration is necessary.
Yeah.
Not so much focusing.
Well, the sense of presence, that peace is always there. When I say concentrating, then it's because our attention is divided from that sense of peace and presence. And then simply saying it's there doesn't necessarily bring it back. But I mean, if you don't feel like going into that forceful concentration, you don't have to. But just be aware that you are dreaming away, and then bring the attention back and relax. And if you can simply be here now, then that actually is the real concentration. But people start not from that standpoint, but from the standpoint of the mind, the attention caught up on the level of the mind, agitated thoughts are going here and there. And then it can be a very useful exercise to concentrate for some time, to, with a little force, put the attention on something, excluding all the others, but then not stick with that and get more and more tense, then relax again. If that doesn't appeal to you, you don't have to do it. But it can be a great help if one does it wisely.
I feel that I get more like entangled up in the business of trying to get better and better concentration. And this, like you said, somehow like some part of my personality just get like, yeah, it's my personality gets involved in some way. And I figured for me, it might be, my idea now is that it might be more helpful to just open up to get more easy and relaxed and opening, instead of just like trying to do it myself.
Sure. If you feel like this, then that's how you have to go about it. Fine.
Okay.
Okay. Adios. Would anybody like to come in?
Yes, hello.
Hello, Leora.
Hi. I really connect to what Andreas just spoke about. Actually, in all my years of the formal practice of Vipassana, I could never concentrate.
Yeah.
I sat I sat so many retreats. Things were happening probably along the years, of course. If I can separate practice and life, of course I can't. But I always felt I couldn't really concentrate. And then people spoke about samadhi and yeah, specifically, and I never felt I was attracted to sitting to work towards samadhi. But then I remember in one course, I described the experience I was going through in the meditation, and the teacher said, it sounds like you were in samadhi, which, okay, great, but it didn't make much sense for me for some reason. It was just like, felt like a compliment from the teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also in life, things were happening. I remember specifically the trip to Norway, not to Norway, to India with Lila, because I had a dream. And just the day after the dream, I saw the post when she opened up the registration for this journey where we met you. And this journey specifically was very transformative for me for some reason. I don't know why. Specifically, I remember one place when we climbed up the mountain, and someplace there, I just lie down on the ground and I felt something really strong. So along this, and the life going on, and the beginning of the satsang today, I actually wanted to ask you, what is concentration? Because I find maybe for different people, it feels like a different experience. Specifically for me, it's now with the energy that so often now I feel like my grandson said, why don't you move? Like very, very stable with the energy. And yet my thoughts can jump, like they say, like a monkey from tree to tree. At the same time, I feel concentrated. And also there is an expression somehow that they say, like, you are connected. People say you are connected. So just wanted to share, and then maybe you can say something. Like this week we went on a trip in the car with my son and my grandchildren, and in the beginning I said, today I want to see a turtle, like in the forest. So I say, I'm asking from the angels of the wishes I'm asking from her to, maybe she can show me a turtle on the path, on the walk. And then my grandson said, I'm asking from his angels, something he has relationships with. And we saw a turtle when we started walking. So I said, yeah, oh, great. And, I'm really connected. But of course, I'm saying it with a smile and a sense of a bit humor, because
Yes,
of course,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I just wonder how you can connect now what I told you about. I want to emphasize that, I've been practicing so long, and so many retreats and life events like sickness and whatever, and yet it's getting better somehow. And I can't point out, I don't have to probably. You speak about devotion. I mean, you spoke today about devotion. Devotion to what, really?
Now, you have been touching different things.
Yeah, I
shall
know. I'm
talk
sorry.
about?
You decide. Whatever makes you decide.
Okay, I'll start with once more about concentration. We can consciously concentrate. And then comes, this is now very much popular, that the teaching, don't do anything. Because if you do something, you strengthen your personality, you strengthen your ego. But as long as the attention is caught up on that personal level, whatever we are doing or not doing is tainted by that identification. Also, if we say, no, I'm not concentrating, then it's me, I, who is not concentrating, because me, I don't want to make the mistake of concentrating. As long as the attention is caught up on that level, no matter what you are doing or trying not to do, it's still coming from that level. It's good to know that it's tainted with it, and the personal silly reactions will be there. Now, if one is having that knack of liking to concentrate, then let them concentrate by all means, and not try to dissuade it. It's no good. But if you don't feel that's your approach, then you don't have to force yourself to concentrate, or not to force yourself to try to concentrate for a long time. That's why I said before, it makes very much sense to have little moments where you come a bit more intensely. You use your willpower, but then you let go. Whether you are feeding the personality or not is not whether you are concentrating or not. It's whether you are identified with all the thoughts that are going through your mind. And you can be very much a doer by trying not to do anything. And you can concentrate, and that doership starts to disappear. So it's not that if you're concentrating, then you are wrong because you're doing something, and when you are just opening up, you are not doing anything. You still start from that doer level and open up, and you can be very attached to that doership also on that level. That's a wrong conclusion that is circling very much in the modern spiritual teaching, that if you consciously do something, it's wrong. But you can do something and be aware, okay, I'm still the doer. It just gives the pointer, and then I learn to relax, and that doership disappears. And then concentration may simply happen by itself. And then what is concentration, you asked? Concentration simply means that the attention is rooted with something, be it an image, a thought, a feeling, a sensation, or just that sense of presence, anything, that the attention is rooted in that and excluding more and more all the other sensations, thoughts, feelings, and all that stuff. Because if you are then in a strong way concentrated like this, all you have to do is to relax. It's like behind that concentration, reality is. You are there. So concentration can bring you to that point, but not only the forcible, willful concentration, but just the conscious opening up is also doing that. But those who do one usually tell it's better than the other, and those who do the other is usually telling it's better than the first one. And it's wrong. It's neither is better or worse. It depends how sincerely and alert we are going about it, and let that me go in both ways, because we can be totally attached to that me, I'm just opening up and be there. Then it's me who is doing it without I'm being aware that I'm totally hooked to the doer of being that. So that much about concentration. And then devotion. Devotion, who is then devoted to whom? Devotion means simply sincerity. And if you are not feeling like you want to be as a devotee, be devoted to God, then just your sincerity of connecting with yourself is true devotion. Now, for many people, it helps, that feeling, that connection, that there is God and there is me and there is that connection, and that connection helps me to go deeper and deeper. And it works equally much, whether that feeling of God and I is there, or simply there is consciousness, life, abstract, without anything. It's again, I say, not one is better than the other one. I'm quoting now Sri Ramakrishna. I have read that long ago, but something like, right, there is that attitude, all is one. There is only I, all is one. And there is that attitude, all is God. There is only God. But there is also a third attitude. There is God and I, and it works equally much. But it's not something we have to create. If that comes naturally, then people who feel that should not get disheartened by all those who say, no, oneness, don't hold on to duality. It's not really a duality. That feeling God and I is simply an expression of that thing that is happening anyhow in everybody, that there is that real divinity, the real self, and there is that habitual me personality, and there is always a bit the two of them until we can unite them.
So there's always the two of them until we can unite them, but it's like probably
it's a way, sorry, it's a way
it's
of
a
talking.
movement.
It's a way of talking. The me that is feeling separate from that divinity is a projection. But if we are on that level of the me, then we are anyhow functioning from there, and there it's nothing wrong to open the heart towards God, whether one conceives God as abstract, formless, or with a form, it doesn't really matter. But if it helps to open the heart, then more and more that sense of the divine presence is there, and eventually that realization may come, oh, they have never been really apart, that devotee and God.
Yeah, I don't know why it reminds me of another small talk with my grandson. We went to this wood someplace in Israel. It's rather dry now, and still we haven't had much rain, so it's dry. And but we saw special flowers there. That's why we went there. And then he said he's just been to Italy in August, so he says in Italy it's more beautiful than here. He's 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And then he asked for approval about what he said. So I said approval for what he said. So I said to him, when there is beauty in the heart, then everything is as the same. Everything is beautiful, the same.
Yeah.
And this is somehow now when you spoke, it made me. I connected to it because it's like the me, we always compare and we have opinions, but when there's beauty in the heart, then Italy and Israel, I mean, nature is beautiful as it is. It doesn't matter where we are, nature is beautiful.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I learn a lot from this relationship I have with my grandchildren, because I see them growing and I see all the tendencies, original tendencies that we all as human beings have. I can see how they grow and how they manifest.
Yeah.
So yeah, they are my teachers. Yeah.
If you are pure, then everything and everybody becomes your teacher.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's true. Right. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
You can learn in every situation. Sometimes the teaching is, okay, this is not how it helps to get closer to harmony, but you're still learning. It's still a teaching.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Ariya.
I just have to, for 1 minute, go out. I come right back. Hari Om. Hello, there I am again. What I'm basically trying to transmit is that one has to learn to listen to one's own heart. What does it mean to listen to one's own heart? Not thinking that I have to figure out spirituality, reality in my head. In the beginning, I said clear, peaceful thinking is also magic. But clear, peaceful thinking is not me trying to figure out something to understand, but clear, peaceful thinking is having a good look at ourselves and start to sort of cut off all that is disturbing. People always have the tendency to pick up one idea and say, this is the best, when they are being told so by teachers, and this is better than that. And this is all unnecessary. Whatever helps you to connect, that is the right thing for you to do. And deep down, we know what helps. That's what I mean with listening to the heart. That's not listening to one's emotion. Listening to the heart means that we are not stuck with trying to figure out what is best, and then hear teachers and then think of the logic of it, and then pick up a teaching and start to believe in it and fix our attention on, yes, that certainly makes sense, it's better than that. But listening to the heart is that we detach from that kind of mechanism and feel out for yourself how to go about it. And for some, it's more like this, for some, it's more like that. And often it's a combination of different aspects. If we profoundly feel that is how to go about it, then this is the right approach, no matter what other people say. Of course, then if you're not, there is always then that me who wants results. And if results are not just happening, then the tendency is easy to think, maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe I should do something else. And then somebody comes along and says, that would be much better if you would do that one. The role of a teacher is basically to encourage the student that, hey, you know where it's going along. Listen in yourself and learn to develop confidence. And even if you don't see immediate results, don't think it's wrong because of that. Subtly, actually, always something is going on. No attempt is in vain. Sometimes it's going deeper, sometimes less deep, but no attempt is in vain. It's subtly doing something, subtly arranging the field that the consciousness suddenly made rotate into a broader experience. Develop self-confidence. What is self-confidence? It's not arrogance. Self-confidence means that capacity to connect with that immovable aspect of oneself and focus on that. Stay in tune with that instead of being all the time by all kinds of ideas and influences pulled away from it. That's for me the increasing self-confidence, that capacity to increasingly be rooted in that. Deep down, everybody knows where it's going along. In our head, we are creating all these stories that prevent us from that simplicity of the guidance that we can get from within. Okay. If anybody else would like to talk, you're welcome to come in.
Hi, Werner.
Hello, Victor.
How are you? Thank you.
Okay, I'm okay.
Good. It was interesting listening to Andreas and you in terms of concentration.
Yeah.
Because I did do the 10-day Vipassana in the Goenka style, you know,
Yes.
38
Yes.
hours a day, and there was no way that I could concentrate.
Yeah.
But I tried, and in hindsight, what I learned from that was that I was expecting for something to happen,
Right.
or feel something through the
Yeah.
concentration, and so it became quite frustrating. So I pretty much.
Sorry, Victor. Hazel,
Yeah.
please turn off your. Already done. Huh? Turn off your microphone if you still have. No, it's gone. Okay.
Yeah. So I pretty much just don't bother practicing concentration, meditation. There are so many dharana practices, you know, to focus the mind. And, you know, and the many years of yoga, I went through all of them and I just gave up on it because I realized it just didn't work for me and I never felt comfortable. It gave me a sense that I was expecting that I had to feel something.
Yes.
But the thing is, I didn't know what I was supposed to feel. Right? And so I realized that, hang on a minute. If I don't know what I'm supposed to feel, why am I trying to feel something? And if concentration is going to give me something and I don't know what it's supposed to give me, why do I even bother doing it? Because it ends up making me feel more frustrated. And so I let go of the concentration, and when I sit down, if I do sit down to meditate, I normally sit down and try to find stillness, and I use my breath as a great vehicle to just calm me down completely. And what I noticed was, and this is what I wanted to ask you about, and I had a meditation last night, there were no thoughts in my mind in as far as a narrative in the thought process. And just being aware of the body, it's like a kind of thought, but it doesn't stream. It's not a thought process.
Right.
And so in my mind, I've got this thing, awareness sometimes feel like it's a kind of thought happening in the mind. But I do realize that there is no train of thought. There's no things happening. And what I did, it occurred to me last night was, when I think about the body, does my body actually experience my beingness? So this is my question. If when I'm using my breath and you know, on the exhalation, I normally, for some reason, go into long external kumbhaks just quite naturally without effort. And I feel the wave of the breath going all the way down my body, and I just have the same sense of awareness or presence of my body. And I'm wondering, am I aware of my body, or is my body, is the body actually aware of my beingness? Since I imagine it's inside of me, that, and I sort of, so in my mind, I just have this sense of awareness around my body, and I can sit in meditation for quite a while in that space. And afterwards, I think, was I thinking about this? There was no train of thought. Was I thinking about this, or does awareness can it express itself to give me the impression that it is a thought, but I didn't feel like I was having a thought? Does that make any sense, what I'm saying to you?
Yes, that's okay. First, you say, anyhow, you have given up on all that concentration. Now you just sit and mainly are with the breath.
Yeah.
Actually, what you are doing is concentrating without having the idea to concentrate.
Yes. which I can do. Yeah.
Right. You may say that you focus, but the focus and concentration, usually people think concentration is heavy with will and focus is gentle, but basically it's the same. And then when we're not using willpower, we can call it, you just focus on the breath. But basically it's concentration that has become relaxed and not so attached to me, I'm doing something. So now, but that focus is great. And if you do that for some time, if you have been doing that for longer time, then naturally it's quite easy that you also physically, you start to feel an effect of that. And now you're wondering, is it you who feels that in your body, or is it the body that feels you? And it's consciousness becoming self-aware, and you as a person and the body are in that consciousness. So it's not the body that is feeling you, or you are feeling the body, because the you who feels the body is also still the personality, but somehow the experience emerges in consciousness that there is another more expansive and lighter experience in this body, that this body is not such a heavy, terrible piece of earth and stone and whatever, but it's actually a carrier for the manifestation of the beautiful consciousness on this level. And the more this is conscious, the more the body feels light and full of light and expansive. And that's what you are experiencing. And so don't wreck your brain. Is it the body that is experiencing me, or me that is experiencing the body? It's consciousness becoming more aware that body, personality that we are playing, that all this is an expression, momentary expression of consciousness.
Yes, because there is, and I shared this before with you, when I was about 12 years old, and I remember this day clearly because that was the day when I had my first migraine headache. And it was before I had the migraine headache. I was sitting in my school bench, and I remember looking out and just feeling a sense of presence with a total emptiness. I just felt sense of being.
Yes.
And I remember that clearly because I had my first migraine. So I've never forgotten that experience. So I thank my migraine for that. And so sometimes I have that feeling, which is actually exactly the same. And I'm 58 years old now. So age makes no difference to that sense that I have of presence, if you like, which
Yes.
is totally unchanged.
Yeah.
And I feel that sense of presence when I go into these meditations, because the breath becomes really, really, really subtle. And I'm not even aware of the breath anymore. I'm just aware of this space around me and just feeling this presence, which in my mind I translate, because I'm so used to feeling with my body. My mind automatically feels that sense through the body and just beyond the body from the sense of space, which is what I was referring to as, you know, that beingness inside. Well, that's the way it seems to be manifesting itself in my practice, you see.
Yes.
And so whether this is actually going to lead me anywhere or not, it doesn't really matter. Because I read Ramana, and Ramana had this conscious awareness even in deep sleep, right? I don't even know what he's talking about because I haven't had that experience, and whatever. I say, yeah, okay, great. So I don't even try and comprehend what that conscious awareness actually can possibly be, because I don't know how I'm supposed to feel or what the experience would feel like. If I ever had it, I wouldn't even know anyway. And that's the reason why I just try to give up on all these ideas about where is this going to lead me? Where is this going to take me? All I know is that in that space and that time, and even, when I'm cycling to work or whatever, I just do this awareness thing within myself, and the mind doesn't have many thoughts going. And it's just become a part of my life. Now, I don't know whether it's going to lead to anything. I've heard about samadhi and all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't have a clue, right? But this is how I practice. And the effects of that is that it enables me to actually be very calm.
Yes.
And that's it, right?
That's
pretty much the end of the story, and I don't mind.
actually, that's not it, but that's very essential. So by all means, since this functions, we continue like this, and it's good to stop to have ideas what should happen. For a long time, they may help us to have the inspiration to continue, but then after that they get bothered and disturbed, and it's better to be then like a little child, just okay, you see, you are open for wherever it leads you.
Yeah, look, I got all my pointers from Ramana, right?
Yeah.
Because the first time I came across Ramana, I knew that was it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
After I went through all that other learning, right? Because at the end, it sounds very, very simple.
Yes.
And his pointers are very powerful.
Right.
And if I do read or if I do think about it, I normally think about, from things that he had said. And I never forget what you say, Take a breath and relax your legs. I tell you, I use that every day.
Very good, very good. Continue doing that. And
so, but that's pretty much it,
Don't feel disturbed that in any way. Don't start to get doubts that when you do your practice, that basically mainly you start to feel it in your body because of the idea that I'm not the body, and because the body stops then being physical and it's getting subtler, the experience, and that's how we open up. We cannot decide now I'm shifting totally level. You can decide as much as you want. It's not necessarily happening. But there where our experience is, we can become subtler and subtler, and much more than you are aware, it's becoming more expansive. And you said, then you basically get peace. You're quiet, and that's it. And in that quietness, whether we are aware of it or not, the experience becomes more powerful, more expansive, goes expansive, it goes deeper. But it goes so gentle that we don't make a big fuss about.
That's right.
And that's good, because at the beginning we want experience and want a big fuss and make a story about it, but then actually to be more and more in that quietness, that's basically the best invitation to let consciousness naturally expand in itself. And it goes so gentle and subtle that we may for a long time have the feeling, well, it's nothing is happening, but still something is happening, much more is happening than what people are aware of.
Yeah, I'll keep going.
Yes, wonderful, keep going.
I keep going because I feel comfortable in that space, and that
Right.
helps to keep going.
Right.
So that's basically all I can say, really. So keep going. Yeah, I
Yes,
will.
yes, very
Okay.
good.
Thank you very
Hari Om.
much, Werner. Thank you.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Is there anybody else who would like to come?
Hello, Werner.
Hello, Kirsten.
Hey. I really enjoy this, all these questions and talks about the meditation. I also wanted to say I really enjoy your little beginning talks that you do now in the beginning of the Satsang. And it's so amazing to feel the connection. And yeah, when I'm online, I really get touched and I have tears in my eyes. And then I have no question. And then as the conversation starts little by little, then the thinking gets going. So now I have a question. And I talked with you before about when the deepening state in the meditation is coming. You advised me to intensify the experience once. And I must say, I have no idea how to do it. I also know I cannot do it. But what happened is when I'm in, can you say, in a very quiet space, it can either be sometimes it like the abyss, and then the thinking says, oh, no, this is scary. And then boom, it's over. Or it's very, very pleasant. And then the thing is like, now be careful not to fall asleep, and boom, then it's over. So it's like the thinking is already always there, and yeah, what to do?
Right. It's not that you have to try to forcibly stop the thinking with will, and so stop thinking. So, okay, even if you are quieter, even if you are in a deeper experience, then the thoughts creep in, but then you just see, there are thoughts, and then try not to get interested in the thoughts.
Yeah.
That's what is carrying us away. We can think no matter what silly stuff, but then somehow we get interested and run along with it. But then you see the thought, oh, there is a thought, and turn the attention back to the source, then the thought comes, and not being nourished, it very quickly disappears without trying to control it. So don't worry, it's not that you have to be now in a thoughtless state, that you have a chance that something is happening. The moment you are making an attempt to be more conscious, and especially if then it comes, you're coming more into a state of peacefulness, there something profoundly does happen, even if you are not quite aware. It's, as I said before today, on subtle levels, there's a lot of adjusting going on and harmonizing going on. And we are not aware of all those subtle mechanisms, but to be consciously in a elevated state of peace, even when their thoughts are creeping in, then don't worry about it. Just don't get interested. Let them come. Oh, okay, let it go. Just focus, bring the focus of your attention again to your being instead of to your thinking. Shall we leave it at that?
Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. We can have a little more time if we want. Is there anyone who would like to come in straight away?
Hello.
Hello, Hazel.
Hi.
Hey.
So I have a question kind of related to Vipassana. So I watched one of your previous clips that you shared, and you were talking about psychedelics. And you were saying kind of if someone has this experience, it can drain you a lot of your vitality because you haven't built up the strength to maintain that state. And I kind of feel the same with like just like any strong experience, like plant medicines or like a long fast or even like an intense meditation retreat. You get so clear and so high and you're in such a good, clear space. But then if you can't, I feel like you can't build that vitality. Or I mean, like you have the meditation retreat to build the strength, but then after, you know, it quickly diminishes. So is it kind of the same thing? I mean, they have a purpose, these meditation retreats, they really help bring clarity, but it feels like it's a roller coaster for the mind where like you get really clear and then like quickly, I mean, it depends how honestly you practice after that, but it kind of just feels like this cycle and it feels like a bit depleting when you go so high in these things. And then, you know, you're just like this all the time.
Right, right. But it's not the same like what I said about the psychedelic experience, because there you really, with an artificial means, you are breaking through barriers which not naturally would break down. And in order to be able to accomplish that, it's like you're using up a lot of your stored up vitality that after that the down comes, and so you feel totally depleted and one has to build it up again. But if you go in a retreat, for example, you mentioned also long fastings, and that there it's different from one to another. If that is not naturally happening, I'm not encouraging long fastings. But if one feels like too short fastings, there are some people, for them it's the right thing to do, and then they don't also feel weakened by it. But if you do long fasting, then naturally the tendency is that your vital force is reducing, your physical vital force, and then the mind also may get a bit weaker. And so do fasting with caution, not forcing it. And the retreat, if you do 10 days or a week or something like this, and then you do a lot of unusual sitting that may drive you a bit into unusual states of clarity. And that means that it can happen that after that you feel a bit like you have done a heavy work and need to rest, because the nervous system is not used to that intensity, and then it has to somehow like recover a bit from that. But in course of the process, the nervous system is getting stronger. It's not that like when you are after a psychedelic trip, that you may also hurt your nervous system. It's not so easily recovering, but the recovering process of the nervous system to a bit relax from a period of more intensity that usually is there, may also feel quite tiring, but it's not draining your energy away. It's just that you have to give your psychophysical manifestation a bit time to digest and slowly lift up the level of capacity. Like an electric circuit. Anything that electric has a certain capacity, how much current you can give into it. If you give too much into it, it burns out. Now, this can happen with the nervous system. It can burn out and people can turn crazy. But opposite to the wiring in an electrical device, the nervous system has a certain tolerance. It is biological. It can develop more and more and more strength. And sometimes it may get a bit overtired after having been exposed to a greater intensity than usual, that after that it needs a little time to just relax again, to digest that intensity, but in course of the process, the capacity of the nervous system to bear stronger energies is increasing. So don't worry if that is happening after a retreat. It's not that there something went wrong. Then just rest a bit and meditate a bit less, and then you can go ahead again.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I think we leave it with like this for today. Keep that message with you from today's. Listen to your own inner guidance. There's nothing wrong having externally a guide, but if we're looking in all directions, and then everybody says a bit a different thing, we can get quite confused. So that it's good to learn to listen to your own inner guidance. It's there with everyone. And by consciously opening up to that, we become more and more aware of that. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.